What's up, world? It's your boy Tommy Mab, and I came to do a video on a couple things that have been bothering me. Most importantly, Jason Fatlock or Whitlock, as he's known. I generally don't like to talk negatively about anybody, especially a African American in a prominent position, because I feel as if it's like a double edged sword. You it's like you have to pick and choose who you choose to go after, because you can't just go after all of them. But I feel like Jason Whitlock is one of these people that you have to go after. He has a track record, of just saying like he has this mindset that leads him to believe that if you're, that because he's a Republican and he's black, that he can fend off any criticism as someone being closed minded to him having a different ideology, which is ignorant. I'm a conservative, right? They say only 46% of liberals identify as liberal. Majority of people consider themselves to be pretty conservative. Um, I think they just have certain things they just don't care about, right? But when it comes to religion, majority of people are conservative people. So I think he hides behind the fact that he's a conservative, and he tries to use that to pawn off the fact that he's a sellout, and he basically sells his people up the river for any and everything, right? So his he has several prominent people that he attacks. LeBron James, anybody who kind of falls into the liberal spectrum, he feels is his open game. But basically, any topic that has to deal with black people, he goes after them, and he goes after them hard. And anytime someone criticizes him about it, he'll turn around and say, "Well, they think because you're black, you're supposed to think the same way." No, I don't think. I have a problem with woke culture as well. I don't like most of the stuff that is put out. You know what I'm saying? And I do think we live in a culture. We live in a age of um, extreme, extreme divisive type behavior. You know what I mean? Like everybody is screaming victim. You know what I'm saying? The white dudes screaming victim, the black dudes screaming victim. Everybody's screaming victim, and people losing track of actual victims. You know what I'm saying? Because in this woke culture, they've created the woke counterculture, which is nothing. It's like they go. It's like they go too far on the spectrum. It's either everything's a problem, or you either got people who are super sensitive, or you got people who are not sensitive enough. And I think that's the problem you run into. It's like, and when do we draw the line? Like, are we oversensitive? Like, because the truth of the matter is, what the real problem is, we live in a world in which we don't share it. You know what I mean? We don't share it well. Everybody wants what they want, but nobody wants to give up what they have for what someone else wants, right? If we learn to share the world in this United States of America, it could be a pretty cool country. Problem is we don't share it well. And so we end up causing a lot of problems because everybody wants the world to be perfectly made for them at the expense of other people. And I don't think you're ever going to find any harmony or any harmony or camaraderie in our culture when we're doing that. It's just not going to happen. But in this culture, that I will admit is annoying, you have people like Jason Whitlock who come forward, who they profit off of it, right? He's been on Fox News a couple times, and I know, like I said, I know it's popular to bash Fox News, but I am a Christian person, so I can't totally bash Fox News because Fox News is the only news channel that actually gives a Christian perspective on things. So it's hard for me to totally bash Fox News when I understand that the liberal media does a lot of twisted, you know what I'm saying, things in their reporting as well. So, I'm forced to have to take everything with a grain of salt because I know liberals very, 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 very judgmental and bigoted when it comes to religious people. And so it's kind of a dynamic where you have to learn to deal with that. But anyways, the point I'm trying to get at is Jason Whitlock, or as I called him when I got angry one time, Jason Fatlock, which I said I don't condone calling anybody fat lock or fat, and I don't condone making fun of anybody, but it's one of those things that comes out when you get angry, and he's definitely somebody who taps on my nerves because he's a very, very annoying person who no matter what, like I'm a strong believer that it's okay to have an opinion on, have your own specific opinion on something. But I start to give you the side eye when all your opinions fall on a certain side. I do that with liberal people all the time. It's like, oh, you believe homosexuality is a choice? Okay. I mean, people are born. You believe evolution is unequivocal truth? Scientific fact? Where are we going next? Oh, okay. Yeah. You believe gender. When you start falling, all your stuff start to fall on one side of the spectrum. Then I'm gonna give you a side eye because I'm thinking he's just following the crowd. That's not his opinion. He's just being told what to think, and he's eating it up wholeheartedly. Nobody. If you had a friend, right, two of y'all who neither one of y'all were influenced by the outside. Y'all both came together, and he was like, "What's your favorite movie?" And you were like, "Spider-Man." Like, mine too. It's like, okay, who's your favorite basketball team? The Magic. Mine too. After you get about to the seventh, mine too, you start to look at him like, this dude, I'm starting to believe he's just saying he likes stuff because I say I like it. That's what a lot of liberals come out. That's how a lot of liberals come off to me. And a lot of conservatives come off to me. It's like nobody is that alike. We all do not think the same on all these issues. But we know how to tell people we think because we've learned to fall within guidelines that are set out for us. And that is the sideline that Jason Whitlock always falls on. He always falls on that side, which leads me to believe it's not his true opinion. He is literally just saying it to get a rise out of people. And when you say it to get a rise out of people, you provoke that from a mindset, from a certain angle. And Jason Whitlock is famous for attacking situations. The whole LeBron James situation, when it came out that someone spray painted junk on his name, and he's like, I'm so sick and tired of this victim culture, black athletes in their victim culture. When you say victim culture and you do it in such a condescending way, you take away from what people are truly going through. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing for me to look at you and say, okay, I don't go through that specifically, so, I can't really relate. But him saying that someone spray painting the N-word on your thing does not affect you is retarded. It absolutely affects you. Nobody wants that. If he came home and somebody spray painted you fat F on his property, I'm sorry. That at the very least is saying someone doesn't think that highly of you. You know what I'm saying? And second of all, I'm pretty sure he realizes he's fat. So it's probably going to be more hurtful to him. Did LeBron say he balled up in a corner and started crying? No, he just said, racism affects me. That is racism that is affecting me because LeBron James was a target of a hate crime. So that means racism affects him. He's not saying he balled up in a corner crying about it. He's just saying it affects him. But Jason Whitlock, who gets paid to come on TV, which a lot of these one person that people should pay attention to is Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd is infamous for bringing on people who are borderline, at least give you side eye about what their priorities or mindset is. Doug Gottlieb, who is the biggest jackass you ever find. That dude's an idiot. He's wrong about 90% of things, and he's just that guy is just a blatant racist. Like I said, this is how I feel about Doug Gottlieb. Doug Gottlieb screams to me as that guy, that white guy who was a good basketball player in his high school. Then he got around a bunch of black people in college or wherever he chose to go next, and he realized he wasn't that good. So he decided to pawn it off on racism, and he grew a lot of animosity for black people because of the situation when he was in college and realized he wasn't really that good of a basketball player. That is what he screams to me. You know, and I've never been a fan of his, never will be a fan of his. I think he's an idiot. I think he's one of the biggest idiots on television. But Colin Cowherd brings him in, and every time Colin Cowherd misses, he fills in for him, right? Very weird dude. Jason Whitlock, he brought him in from ESPN. Very weird dude. These guys, and we all know Colin Cowherd got fired from ESPN for his words about the Dominican players being not as smart and being not as smart and cheaters and stuff like that. So we all know Colin Cowherd has a checky past at the least, right? You can sleep in it, Ari. So Colin Cowherd did that situation. He brings a lot of suspect people in. So even though he himself, even from a perspective for me watching it, he doesn't come off as a racist person to me. But the people he brings in to argue with him tend to fall way right. And Fox Sports in general seems to be like a cool place, but they have some idiots on there, and two idiots, the biggest idiots are the two people that Colin Cowherd brought in, Doug Gottlieb, and who not that he brought in, but that he promoted and helped them get their own platforms, which was Doug Gottlieb was the biggest idiot you will ever find, and Jason Fatlock, right? Whitlock never, ever. I've never sat in a discussion and heard him bring up anything that has to do with actual game, right? He never talks about the X's and O's. He never talks about fundamental. He never talks about anything. All he does is give generic takes on situations that have no factual evidence backing it up. It's all his perspective. It's all him crying about other people crying. That's his entire show is about arguing and saying that people are crying when all he does is cry. All he does is complain about how annoyed he is and how he hates the culture and how he hates this and how he hates that. That is Jason Whitlock's whole entire career. So why he's on Sport Network, I will never know. He sits there and talks about how he wants to take politics out of sports. Yet every show, all he talks about is identity politics. He hates LeBron James because of his statements towards Donald Trump, right? He hates anybody who speaks from a liberal point of view. And anytime someone from the conservative side says something negative or does something bad, he plays it low and tries to act like people are overreacting. Now, is he right sometimes? Yes. But majority of the times he's wrong. You know what I'm saying? He takes real life situations and then he plays them low. So people see him as a sellout because he is a sellout. He's a sellout. He's a terrible host. I mean, his big thing, the thing that he latched on for today was the whole Colin Kaepernick getting out. Why did the NFL bow down to Colin Kaepernick? Anybody who's seen my last channel will understand that I'm not a fan of what Colin Kaepernick did. Not because I care about kneeling or nothing. I'm a person who believes that if you're doing something for a purpose and in the end it does not achieve any progress towards that purpose, then it's a fail. It failed from the beginning and it probably was a terrible idea. Colin Kaepernick said, "I'm going to kneel to protest what's going on in police brutality." Didn't really need. A lot of people are giving him credit, and this burns me up. They give him credit for bringing attention. No, he did it because there was already a lot of attention brought to the issue. So he didn't add anything to the movement. All he did was profit off the movement. So I don't understand why I hear people put him in the same vein as Muhammad Ali and all these other great African Americans, Jackie Robinson. It's ridiculous. He's not on that level. All he did was piss people off. He didn't. They said, "Oh, he sacrificed." First of all, let's cut the crap about him sacrificing anything. Because if anybody knows, when he got cut off the 49ers, he specifically said he was not going to kneel anymore. He came out, put out a press statement saying he was not going to kneel anymore. So when it came down to it, when his money was on the line, he said he wasn't going to do it. So save me the bullcrap about the guy he sacrificed every stand for nothing or fall for anything, the crap he's talking about. Dude, you are a face right now. You basically hijacked the movement, profited off it, got name recognition, got a Nike contract off of it, got $1 million lawsuit from the NFL. I mean, millions of dollars from the NFL on a lawsuit. You did nothing but profit from this situation and didn't really help this situation at all. Name one. Did they stop with the whole situation? Did they stop with the whole situation once? Did they stop shooting black kids? No. Is there a stagnant? Is there a change in the killing of unarmed African Americans? No, he didn't do anything that changed anything. All he did was profit off the movement and then and added very little to that movement. Yeah, he'll go down as an icon for being blackballed from a league that probably in a couple of weeks he won't even be doing that anymore. But he can go down because he's a symbol. He didn't really do much. So I can understand the thing, but what we're talking about here is whether or not Colin Kaepernick deserves a chance to play in the NFL. He totally loses that. So he starts, the whole entire argument is about whether or not Colin Kaepernick was a distraction. Was there that? That's not the discussion. Discussion is not whether or not he should have been a whether bringing him in was a smart idea for any team. Of course, you as baggage that comes along with that, but we're not asking that question. The question that was put forward was, if you're a person who's gonna sit around and say that Colin Kaepernick has not earned the right to play in the NFL, then you should be able to come right behind that and explain from a point, because we're not arguing whether or not the owners are blackballing him for a reason. We're arguing whether or not they are blackballing him. And what I get from Jason Whitlock all the time is he loves to talk about whether or not it was right for them to blackball without ever addressing whether or not they are blackballing him. And it's obvious that they're blackballing him. When RG3 can get a job and Colin Kaepernick can't, they're blackballing. It's just that simple. Colin Kaepernick had a pretty good career for 5 years. For the 5 years he was in the NFL. It wasn't a bad career. Definitely warrants a better second chance more than Brian Hoyer and half of these guys that are starting in the NFL right now. So we're talking about whether or not he was blackballed. It's clear and obvious the guy was blackballed. So that's what you need to be talking about. But instead he goes on his talking point, his little Republican talking points. We start talking about a whole bunch of stuff that ain't got nothing to do with what the actual discussion is about. We're not having a discussion about whether or not LeBron James or whether or not liberal culture got him his tryout. We're not doing that. We're literally having a discussion about whether or not the guy was being blackballed, and is it fair, since he was blackballed, to give him a platform to be able to show his stuff and be in a position where people understand that he's coming back to the NFL and try to do it without all the negativity surrounding it. And I think that's obviously not that bad of an idea to do. What I think about him, I don't really know. But I said, Jason Whitlock is an idiot. He really shouldn't have a show. He really only has a show because he basically attacks black athletes all day long. So he's very annoying. So I just wanted to go in and really make a video talking about how stupid I thought he was. So if you heard that, check it. Peace and respect. Keep posting. Please subscribe if you like what I'm talking about. Basically, this channel is just gonna be that. Me coming at a bunch of. I'm basically gonna be trolling the trollers, talking about the idiot people and some of the dumb things they say. So that's what I'm doing. I'll be trolling the trolls. Because that's what I feel. Jason Whitlock, Skip Bayless, you know what I'm saying? Doug Gottlieb. A lot of these idiots are just that. Idiots. So, please, if you have not subscribed to my video, subscribe, like, comment, and let me know what you think. All right, y'all. Peace.